So very great having you over here.
Thank you.
And really appreciate the time you took up. Um, so the question that is coming to mind is, you in your individual capacity, I think you are interested in academics, and in the interchange, and so you've come over by way of personal interest. But how do we institutionalize this? I mean, at the end of the day, we have to feed off each other. Academia and industry have to feed off each other. So how do we institutionalize it and make it more broad based? Not merely in the form of, let's say, interchange of people coming over for guest lectures and so on, but also participating in case studies and more deeper engagement.
I think you have hit nail right on its head. Apart from the industry or the corporate sector visiting academics, I think there needs to be a healthy two-way exchange. If you look at the Western countries and the way education system is developed, it's a healthy exchange of ideas between the two rather than it just being one way. That industry shares its experience, people from there, the research takes place in the academia, which is then brought into the corporate. I think that kind of a structural program that builds on top of that, where both the parties play an equal and critical role, is the way forward for those kind of things. There'll always be people in the industry who will be interested in contributing, but I think we need to also work towards the academia and get them to work and bring in enough inputs so that the industry absorbs them, and that exchange will actually lead to taking this partnership at the next level.
So I guess the onus is equally on academia to find ways and means by which they can be more meaningful in that interchange.
Correct. The academia has to engage with the industry in a manner where the value is seen, and the more value will be seen, the more students, the more graduate students, the more professors that engage with industry, the more insights that they are able to bring on the table. I think this partnership of academia and industry will become that much more rich and that much more valuable.
So personally, what attracted you to today's session?
I think the whole topic of the session of responsible management education. I think it used to be, as I said during my talk, it used to be one of the small topics that people used to discuss in one of the lectures. And to have a session or the whole conference only based on that, I think it's the right step in the right direction. I just hope that the students capture something, and the professors and the education team here actually understands what the students have captured. So it's not just enough for the industry experts to come in and speak. It's also important for the faculty here to assess eventually what has been absorbed and what has not been absorbed, so that it can be built on. I think those kind of accountability post, it's like an office meeting. If people get what you've got in a meeting or an office conference, you need to know after, and it's immediately seen. I think students need to be more accountable once they visit these kind of conferences. I think that reverse accountability will stand everybody in good stead, and that's, I think, the potential of how responsible market management can actually be a cornerstone of general management. I think that's the most attractive part of this.
Well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Start? Okay. Hi Prashant, so you discuss about water scarcity and water stress which is happening in India. So, I mean, how do we go about solving that problem?
I think the first is to make it at the level of understanding, accept that the crisis is there. Because what is happening is that acceptance of the crisis is not there. It is only felt or academically researched or felt by some of the leading businesses. But as an initiative, as a country, we need to see that how we make it understand at all the levels, especially looking into the sectoral use of water, agriculture using almost 80% of water. I think that sector needs to make it understand. The second step would be that identify the mix of traditional practices such as trash mulching, trash shredding, and use of compost, and also the newer technology like a sprinkler, drip, and make it more viable and accessible to the farmer to make the change to happen.
I must ask you one more question on that about sugarcane industry, which is also consuming sugarcane, which is very, very water intensive, and their own practices of the water management. Are you optimistic that Indian sugarcane industry or Indian sugarcane companies will be, going to follow the international standards of water management?
I think we are the second biggest producer of sugarcane in the world, and after Brazil, and we have the challenges also in terms of when we talk about efficiency, because in Brazil you have a large scale state farms where you miles and miles of sugarcane is grown, but India we have a smallholder economy. A farmer is a landowner and he grows in a small patch of land. So we need to address the issue from that perspective, especially looking into the Asia or India level. Bringing efficiency, we have to bring the industry has to play a role, and we have seen that how much, because sugarcane industry will not survive if there is no sugarcane, and if the sugarcane is hit by drought or water crisis, the industry is in doldrum. And looking into the future of bio-based economy, where a few days back our Prime Minister of India announced to go for ethanol, but ethanol is actual water actually, which converted into ethanol. So I think the stewardship of industry can be brought in. We have 571 sugar mills in India. I can't say for all, but we have worked with a few of the good partners in India, like DCM Shriram, Murugappa Group, CID Perry, Rashtriya Sugars and Chemicals in Tamil Nadu, and Olam International. They have committed themselves. And then the newer companies like NSL Sugar, they have also committed. There are members of International Certification Board of Bon Sucro. So there is a momentum, and with the growing consumer awareness and the end user demand of sustainability, that shift will happen, because ultimately the businesses like Unilever and Coca-Cola or Pepsi's, if they demand sustainable produce, shift will happen. But in the larger segment of Indian market, which consumes huge amount of sugars, we have bigger industries like Haldirams and all they use in sweets. If, if tomorrow Haldiram says that we use sustainably produced sugar in our sweets, that's a big thing, and I think it will hit the consumer also in a longer run. So with the growing education and awareness, and with more and more norms, the CO water mandate and other things getting connected, I think this shift will happen. I'm pretty hopeful.
Just last question, that what should we do as a business school to sensitize our student about sustainability issues, water issues, and also encourage them to work for these kind of organizations so that they can get the first-hand experience?
Yeah, I think that's the gap even we face as a one of the people who are working in this sector, that the challenge of finding the right skills and combinations. And I think as a business school, it is an opportune time when this demand for sustainability is growing, to include not just in your curricula but also partnering with certain institutes and work hands-on and understand sustainability, because there are multiple nitty-gritties when you engage in the subject of sustainability. When you go down to the ground, it connects the whole supply chain of a business, and it has to be understood at every level. There are challenges of price, there are economics, macro and microeconomics both plays in individual income. So it's a very complex thing. I think if, as a business school, if you can partner with institute like like us or like many other organization, I think it will gives you a inroad to understand sustainability, and rightfully your course on classroom to communities. I think you can bring back a lot of learning in your classroom from the communities.
Thank you so much. Thanks for thank you.